Oh, congratulations. You were approved for Social Security disability. Bittersweet, I guess. I'm sure you would like to be out there working, and Social Security disability is great. It's great that you were finally approved, but working usually you get a lot more money, and it's nice to be out there working if you're able to. But you were approved for Social Security disability, so I wanted to put together this video. What now? What's going to happen? You're going to have a long, hopefully relatively painless interaction with the Social Security Administration over the next many, many years. So I wanted to put this video together to show you what to expect. And how do I know what to expect? Well, I am a former district manager of the Social Security Administration. I ran the third busiest office in the country. I've helped hundreds of thousands of people out throughout the country with all things Social Security, including disability, survivor benefits, spousal benefits, Medicare. Before that, I worked for the Department of Welfare, helping with Medicaid. Before that, I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, so VA benefits as well. So this is not my first rodeo. So we can definitely help you out and walk you through the entire process. Okay, acronyms, and more acronyms. So when a Social Security employee, you interact with Social Security employees, they will throw out all these acronyms. So I guess it's a good time to get you started now. But if you don't understand, Social Security employees are notorious. All federal bureaucratic employees are notorious for speaking in bureaucratic lingo. So just say, hey, what does that mean? And they'd be more than happy to explain to it. Hopefully, if not, then complain. Okay, let's start off. Award letter. Okay, you got your award letter that you were approved. Number one, check that award letter for the dates. Did they give you the correct onset date? Did they start your benefits correctly? Again, there's a 5-month waiting period for Social Security disability benefit. So for the first 5 months, essentially nobody receives benefits. Did you get your correct back pay? Make sure your back pay is calculated correctly. Do you have any auxiliaries? And again, acronym AUX, auxiliary children, auxiliary spouses or anything, auxiliary child in care. So if you have any children under the age of 18 or 19 if they're still in high school, again, not necessarily now, if you were approved for 2 years ago and your child is now 19 or 20, but 2 years ago they were 17, 18, then you just might be entitled to benefits for that child, and basically until they graduate high school, no more college auxiliary benefits. If your spouse is taking care of one of your children under the age of 16, staying home to take care of one of your children, or a disabled child, again, disability that began before the age of 22, then your spouse might be entitled to what's called auxiliary child in care benefits. And I did a whole another video on that. So just kind of, again, check the dates on your award letter and keep your award letter. Keep it in a very, very safe place because you'll need that in the future. So check the dates, make sure your back pay is correct. Make sure your auxiliaries, the children and everything are receiving benefits, file a claim for them. Okay. All right. What about your money? Set up direct deposit. That's always the best way. For those people that don't have a bank account, you can set up a system Social Security uses, Direct Express. And I would probably avoid that if you're able to. But if you just don't have a bank account, then Direct Express is the reason I say avoid it is because the customer service is kind of wanting, even for Social Security employees. People would come into the office and they would have issues with their Direct Express, a little card there that the money is put on. It's kind of like a credit card type thing. And we would call the Direct Express and say, hey, we're having an issue with this and that. And yeah, it's be on hold forever. So the customer service is not the best. But if you just can't get a bank account, I would check if you can't get a bank account because of, credit history or whatever the issue might be. Call around to the few banks in your area and say, okay, this is for a federal benefit. I'm just going to use this bank account and for a federal Social Security disability benefit that's going to go into the bank account. So some banks allow it if it's for a federal benefit, a deposit like that. So check. So set up your own bank account, check for federal benefit bank accounts, and at the very end of it, I guess, do Direct Express. If you're having issues taking care of your benefits yourself, then you can ask for a representative payee, or basically, if you got a friend or family member, and you can't take care of your own benefits. Social Security always wants you to take care of your own benefits, but if a doctor determines that you're not able to take care of, you can assign a representative payee, and that person will be responsible to make sure that your benefits are going correctly, and they'll receive a representative payee report once a year that says, okay, what are you doing with this money? Are you spending it for the disabled person's best welfare? So that's important. A 1099, you'll get a 1099 every year. At the beginning of the year, basically that's so you can file your taxes. Go on to SSA.gov if you haven't already. Set up a SSA.gov account, and you can just print off your 1099 there directly online, so you don't have to go down to the Social Security Administration. Okay, what else? So that's, I guess, the first year or two. In terms of what's called a continuing disability review. So it really depends. It should have on your award letter, it'll have the MIE or MINE. MIE is medical improvement expected, and MINE is medical improvement not expected. So the Social Security will set up what's called a diary date. Basically, every 3 years or 5 years or 6 years, if they anticipate your medical condition might become better, and they will send you what's called a CDR, Continuing Disability Review. And if you hired a lawyer, to help you with your case, lawyers usually don't do the whole CDR thing. I've got another video on this, the Continuing Disability Review. Definitely check that out. But most important thing is don't sweat it. Don't get too stressed out about it. It's internally, the CDRs are budget driven. So it's a big bureaucratic nightmare. So basically the Congress comes down with a budget and says, okay, you will do this many CDRs. And so all the offices run around and, they have to do 100 CDRs every quarter or something like that. So they don't get a lot of response rate. So they send out 200, and, you're the one that gets it, and you fill out all the paperwork about your disability, and they want to see if you're still disabled, and they ask you about your disability and where, are you working, and what doctors are you seeing, and stuff like that. And you send it in and you stress about it, and then, nothing happens. So just fill it out as best as you can. Watch my other video on CDRs, and it'll explain all the kind of the ins and outs of the CDR process. You just fill it out honestly as best as you possibly can. One of the important things about the whole process is anticipating eventually getting one of those. So if you got new conditions, you were disabled because you received disability because of this, but since then you've gotten new conditions, make sure you make a note of that. When you go to the doctors for your disabling condition, then make a note of that. Okay, on this particular date, I went to the doctor for this, and put together a little journal about your disability and the doctors you go to and how you're feeling, and the medications you receive. And sometimes, the medications make you feel better, so you're able to work because of this. Your disabling condition gets better because of medication, but because of your medication, it has this other side effect that you can't work because of this other side effect. This gets better, but this one gets worse. So you still can't work regardless. So make sure you make a note of that. Again, put that in your journal. And that way, when the CDR comes, you can put that down there and you can make a case. And that way, you should be able to keep your disability benefit. So that's important. If you're receiving SSI, which is the Supplemental Security Income, it's a needs-based program administered by Social Security Administration. And then there's SSDI, which is the insurance for people that actually paid into, obviously, Social Security. So for the SSDI, if you, hit the lottery and, win $1 billion, number one, call me, hey. But if you hit the lottery and make $1 billion, then your SSDI will still continue because it's not based on, income or resources. But if you're receiving the SSI, the needs base, and you win $1 billion, then obviously you will no longer, even though you're disabled, you won't receive SSI anymore because you're making too much. SSI this year is about $900 top. So if you're making over that, then you are probably on SSDI. If you now work, let's talk about work. If you decide to go back to work, try to go back to work. This is where the TWP comes in, the trial work period. Basically, one time in your life, while you're on disability, you can try to go back to work. And basically, for the first 9 months, you can make as much money as you want. And to see if you can go back to work, because Social Security, would like for you to get off, disability and, be productive and pay into Social Security and all that kind of good stuff. So they entice people to try to go back to work. But after 9 months, you try, you just can't do it. Then you can't do it. Then no harm, no foul. It doesn't affect your Social Security benefits. But again, that journal, keep that journal. Call up Social Security and say, I'm going to try to go back to work, and I'm going to make, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, whatever the case may be. And then take I called Social Security on March 18th, and I talked to, John Smith, and I told them that I was going to, go back to work. And he said it's okay. I haven't used my trial work period or anything like that, so I'm good. So make sure you document that. And after 9 months, you call them up, says, yep, I stopped working, or, hey, I'm going to continue working more. And then you can go into what's called the EPE, extended period of eligibility, which lasts like 36 months. And again, call Social Security, and that might stop your benefits, probably stop your benefits depending on how much you make. Some people can work and receive disability benefits, but you have to limit how much you receive. It's usually quite a bit under $1,500, depending on the year. And then you also have what's called IRWIs. Basically, if you work for some place and they give you kind of extra benefits allocation because of your disability, and you work this much, and but it looks like you're making more, that might be because of these IRWIs here, that you need to spend extra money to go to work, or your boss gives you, kind of a leeway that he doesn't give other employees. So make sure, in case Social Security is talking about, kicking you off because you made, $100 or $200 or $300 more a month than you should have, then, evaluate the IRWIs there. If your benefits stop because you work, you can get what's called an expedited reinstatement. If you stop work, basically, expedited reinstatement is you're on disability, but you're able to go back to work. And after a while, year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, your disability just catches up with you again, and you're not able to work. Then you can file what's called an EXR, expedited reinstatement, where they take into consideration your previous disability. So you have that available as well. And all of the work type things, Social Security has a program called Ticket to Work. Reach out to Social Security and get the number to your local Ticket to Work. There's a national number too. I'll put up on the screen, and they can help you if you're interested in going back to work. And they help make sure that you're doing it and that you won't negatively affect your disability benefit. So that's all about work. All right, what about health insurance? So if you currently have the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, we also help people with that. So reach out to us and we'll make sure you're in the best plan. But after 2 years of being on disability, 24 months of being on disability, you're entitled to Medicare Part A and Part B. So a couple, 3 months before that 24-month, Medicare will essentially send you your Medicare card automatically in the mail. So at that time, you will need to figure out, what to do, because original Medicare A and B are great. They cover a lot, but they also don't cover a lot. So a lot of people get supplemental plans, Medigap plans. So we can help you with those too, but reach out to someone you know and trust. That way you are protected in case something happens. And it's amazing how many people I talk to on a daily basis that they've had, a disability for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. And they say, well, I can't go to the doctor because I don't have any money. I don't have health insurance. And I'm going to say, well, you've had Medicare for like 2 years. And they got the card in the mail and they didn't realize it was actually a Medicare card. They thought it was some, scammy, ad or something, junk mail. So they've been avoiding going to the doctor because they didn't have health insurance. But again, after 2 years of being on disability, you get Medicare. So reach out to us and watch my other videos, and it'll explain everything about Medicare. Once you reach your FRA, full retirement age, then your disability will stop. A lot of people are shocked about that. I don't receive disability. It's more of a bureaucratic accounting type situation where your disability benefits will stop and you will start receiving retirement benefits. It'll be the same exact amount. It's just a bureaucratic thing where the Social Security Administration stops taking your money out of the disability trust fund and starts taking out of the retirement trust fund. But everything else will be the same. And then when you turn 65, you also have an option of switching around. So if you've had, one type of Medicare plan, a Medicare Advantage plan or something like that, when you turn 65, you get a kind of a mulligan, a redo. So you can pick something completely different at that time because you're in that golden period of 65. So that's a good time to reevaluate your Medicare plan. But when you switch from disability to retirement at your full retirement age, no more CDRs, no more work requirements. So you've ended all that, and so you can just go on with your life and not worry about don't have to keep that journal anymore. All right, I think I talked about all of them. Got any questions? Reach out to me. Reach out to Social Security. Keep that journal. And congratulations on finally being approved for disability benefits. And make sure your local Social Security office treats you well. If not, please complain. Please. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon. And have a beautiful day.